Hello my friends, HM here. I make videos about stuff that are important for whether our future will be better or worse. Today's video is about an interesting statistics that I follow and that shows that the US for the first time produced more electric power from wind power than it did from coal power. And I also will show you a few other interesting things. So let's get started. Let me first change the scene to the statistic that has this stuff. It is from US Energy Information Administration, and they keep a lot of interesting web pages with statistics about how it's going with US energy. And this one is about net generation in the United States, all sectors on a monthly basis. And here, the blue line up here, we can see that's the total electric consumption in the US, and it's all the way back from 2002 to up to today. But in order to see what's going on, electricity from all fuels, I'll deselect that one because then it pops up and becomes a little more visible. Maybe I should also make it a little bit larger. Okay, so the thing here I wanted to show you, coal here used to be the biggest power source by far for making electricity in the US. And now from 2010, it has just steadily declined quite a lot. And it keeps declining. Let me get rid of natural gas. That's the green one that has gone up since the shale fracking stuff started. Gas has increased a lot because gas got cheaper and more abundant in the US. And it's of course responsible for a lot of this drop in coal. But now it's wind and solar that will take over. All growth in the future will be from wind and solar, and it will eventually get rid of coal and natural gas in the grid. Let's get rid of natural gas as well, so it's even easier to see what's going on here. Now we have coal. The yellow one here is nuclear. What is it called? Turkish, I think it's called, the color. Down here is solar power. Then the brown red stuff here is hydropower. Yeah, let's get rid of nuclear as well. It's a little hard to see what's exactly going on here because it's a close race, but you can, down here in the table, you can see all fuels delivered 300,000 megawatt hours in April 2023. That's the latest data available. And here you can see coal was only about 40,000 of these megawatt hours, and wind power here is 43,000 of these megawatt hours, so it was bigger. And that's the first time it has happened. You can see it's the first time wind power here has gone above coal power. And I do expect that in the next couple of months, coal power will be bigger again than wind power. But then it will happen more and more frequently that wind power will beat the production of electricity from coal. And in 2 years' time, I expect that every single month going forward, wind will be bigger than coal, because coal keeps falling and wind power keeps increasing. But as you can see, it's not the same production every month. There's a lot of variability in it, both for coal, but also for wind and solar, and also for hydropower. So it all goes up and down. I think it's safe to assume that wind power will very soon become much bigger than coal power. And the next one that will come up is of course solar power. Solar power, that's also interesting. Solar power for the first time produced more electricity than from hydropower. Normally it was hydropower, you can see here back in 2012, hydropower was the only renewable energy that was produced. But now solar for the first time was bigger than hydropower, and wind has been bigger than hydropower for a long time now. So you could say that is definitely making the world a better place if we can get rid of fossil fuels that are polluting with some clean fuels that are produced in-house in the same country where the consumption happens. So we don't have to import the energy from countries that not necessarily would keep supplying us if we have a crisis. So it's much better to produce it at home for military and security reasons. That's one of the good things about wind power and solar power. It's safe energy that you produce at home. But let's see why this trend here is continuing. I have another graph to show you. That's the cost of electricity production. Look at this. Onshore wind power. It has gone from a very high level of 35 cents per kilowatt hour. And today, the latest year we have, that's 2021, it had fallen to 3 cents per kilowatt hour. 3 cents for onshore wind. That's very cheap, and it's much cheaper than any of the fossil fuels. I'll show you statistics of that. It's also cheaper than nuclear, and it's not stopped falling. 20 years from now, wind power will be 1 cent per kilowatt hour, but right now it's free. And also solar, that's the other one I wanted to show you. Solar is also here. Where is it? Here it is. Can you see? In 2010, solar was like 50 cents per kilowatt hour. And then 11, 12 years later, what is solar power then? Uh, it's 5 cents per kilowatt hour, which is also cheaper than fossil fuel power or nuclear power. So we have now that renewable energy that's the cleanest, it's also the cheapest, and it continues to drop in price. That's why all the alarmists that says that global warming will kill us all and we'll keep polluting with fossil fuel, no, we will not, because money talks the loudest, and it's far cheaper to make energy in the future using clean energy from wind and solar. But let me show you another graph to confirm this. This one here is from Wikipedia. That's the only one that had sources that also show the cost from coal and gas. So here we have coal, CC, probably combined cycle, making electricity from coal. Only the super modern coal power plants can do that. But here we have a cost. It's in US dollars. There are a couple of sources that are mentioned. The lowest one is 6.1 cents per kilowatt hour. And otherwise, it's 6.5 cents to up to 15 cents per kilowatt hour for coal power. And here's another source from 8.8 cents to 11 cents per kilowatt hour. That's in US dollars. And gas, combined cycle. Yeah, now I can confirm it's combined cycle because this thing popped up. First, you have a gas turbine. You combust the gas, goes through that turbine, it makes electricity, and then the exhaust gas is used to heat up some water, and then you have a steam turbine that will also produce electricity. These power plants can convert 62% of the energy in gas to pure electricity. It's the most efficient we have, but still the lowest cost among these sources is 4.5 cents per kilowatt hour. So that was on par with solar power, but it's significantly more expensive than onshore wind power. And then we have two other estimates which says it's about 7 cents per kilowatt hour. This is for US natural gas, where natural gas doesn't cost a lot. I have another source here that shows what it costs in Europe. And it's this one here. The good thing about that, that's for natural gas in Europe, and it has just fallen to a long-term, let's keep the entire track here. As you can see, that's from 2012. It has been at 25 euros per megawatt hour, but that's for the energy content in gas. Then it has to be converted into electricity. Then you lose about half. And that means you have to multiply this price here just for the fuel cost with 2. So we get about 5 cents, and that's euro. That's also a little more value than dollar. We get about 6 cents in Europe for making electricity, and that's just the fuel cost. Then you need to build the gas power plant. You need to maintain it. You need to pay staff to operating it, and that all adds up. That'll be about 12 cents per kilowatt hour. And if we just go back to the peak of the Ukraine war here, where we had gas shortages in Europe, and now we have completely dropped buying Russian gas. We have found out other ways to make our electricity. Well, gas was like 240 euro per megawatt hour. In other words, it was 24 cents per kilowatt hour. And then you double that up, that would be 50 cents per kilowatt hour just for the fuel. And here we go. Wind power can do it for 3 cents, everything included, maintenance and everything. So yeah, there's no future at all for making energy using fossil fuels. It's all going to be renewable, and that's a good message I have in this video. The future is looking bright in terms of energy. We'll have plenty of energy. I could have, but my video will get too long. I could have shown you that we can power the world hundreds of times over with both solar and wind. There's no scarcity of it. We have plenty of it, much more than we have fossil fuel, but I'll leave that to another video. Then I only have one thing left. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe to my channel. I talk about a lot of things. I also talk about the war in Ukraine. I talk about technological things, about computers and AI and things that matters for the future, whether it would be good or bad. So please subscribe to my channel. And then I just wish you a great life in freedom and democracy. Goodbye.